You know that moment when you realize you're not just being disrespected, you're being invaded. Yeah, that was me, standing on my back porch, watching Linda from the HOA wave smugly at my security camera while her poodle took a dump in the middle of my koi pond. Two middle schoolers zipped through my flower beds on scooters, crushing the irises I planted in memory of my late wife. One of them made direct eye contact with my camera, saluted, and chucked a soda can onto my patio like it was some kind of victory. That's when I knew this wasn't just casual trespassing. This was war, and I wasn't about to lose it to yoga pants and self-entitlement. See, a few months earlier, I'd bought a peaceful home at the edge of a quiet neighborhood in Crestwood Hills. It bordered a narrow green belt, a beautiful buffer of nature that, according to every zoning map I pulled, belonged entirely to me. It was the reason I bought the property. Privacy, space, peace. But somewhere between the HOA's clubhouse and the community playground, someone, probably Linda, decided my backyard would make a more convenient shortcut. Why walk the winding sidewalks when you can just stroll through Frank's backyard? At first, I ignored it. One jogger here, one stroller there, whatever. But then came the morning dog-walking gangs, then the mums with iced lattes and power walks. Eventually, kids started using my koi pond as a splash zone. By the time I installed my first security camera, my yard had more foot traffic than the Starbucks on Main Street. I posted signs: private property, no trespassing, use the sidewalk. Linda tore them down, replaced them with her own. Community path, enjoy the walk. The nerve. I confronted her at the next HOA meeting, and she had the gall to laugh. Oh, Frank, that trail's been used for years. It's a community easement. An easement? I pulled out a notarized property survey, smacked it on the table. There is no easement. That land is mine. She shrugged, sipping her soy latte. Sometimes we just go with what's best for the neighborhood. Best for who, Linda? I filed a police report. The officer was sympathetic but shrugged. Looks like a civil matter. Even as Linda's mutt chased a squirrel past my porch. I tried fencing it off. They climbed it. I tried polite conversation. Linda called me the anti-fun guy. And then she asked if her walking group could use my shed as a water break station. My shed. I said no. She rolled her eyes and muttered something about how I didn't understand community. But the real breaking point? The garden gnomes. 6 little statues my wife adored. I'd placed them around the koi pond as a tribute to her memory. One afternoon, I came home to find them shattered, flattened by a rogue soccer ball. A kid sprinted off laughing. And Linda? She was lounging just feet away, sunglasses on, and said, "You really shouldn't put breakables where kids play." That night, I sat in my garage, blueprint spread across the workbench, sipping whiskey, my heart racing with quiet fury. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to sue. No, I was going to build. Not just a fence, not just a wall. I was going to build something that would confuse, frustrate, and outsmart them all. A maze, a living, breathing obstacle course, a psychological Rubik's Cube in my own backyard. I had a background in military logistics and tactical movement planning. I once helped design supply routes for NATO operations in Kandahar. If I could outwit smugglers in the desert, I could handle Linda from the HOA. So I got to work. I had hedges delivered at dawn. Told my neighbors I was installing a therapeutic garden in honor of my late wife. One lady nodded tearfully. Another said, "Oh, good. Finally cleaning that up." What they didn't know was that those hedges were pre-cultivated, thick, and 4 feet tall. I began assembling them in curved rows, hiding key exits, building false loops, and planting pivoting panels that changed direction depending on the day of the week. I installed sprinkler systems with motion detectors, delayed just enough to soak the last person in a group. Sound emitters played random chirps, footsteps, even recordings of Linda's voice from past board meetings. I installed reflective panels to mess with depth perception, scent trails that misled dogs, and at the center of it all, a little clearing with a bench, a small fountain, and a sign that read, "Enjoy your break. But remember, every choice has consequences." And oh, I made sure it was legal. Posted signs. Landscaping in progress. Enter at your own risk. Ran the whole thing by my lawyer buddy. He laughed so hard, he nearly dropped his drink. Gave me a thumbs up and a thumbs up emoji. 2 weeks later, it was ready. My masterpiece. A passive-aggressive botanical labyrinth. I sat upstairs in my converted study, now my command center. Monitors covering every inch of the maze. Camera rolling. Lemonade in hand. And I waited. Saturday morning. Perfect timing. I posted on the neighborhood app. Now open. Memorial Garden Path. A place for mindfulness and reflection. By noon, curious walkers filtered in. A few got disoriented. One guy walked in circles for 20 minutes and came out laughing. But then came Linda. White tracksuit, rhinestone sunglasses, holding her oversized tumbler that said Queen in glitter font. She strutted into my yard like she was doing me a favor. "This is adorable," she chirped. "I'm sure it'll boost home values." I smiled, nodded, and activated real-time tracking. 8 minutes later, she was already lost. 15 minutes in, she passed the same hedge 4 times. I triggered the speaker, her own voice echoing. "This isn't up to code." Her face twisted. Her entourage got split off. One friend ended up in the echo chamber corner loop. Another tried to scale a hedge and fell into a mulch bed that triggered a camera flash and a rooster sound effect. The sprinkler misted them with lavender and vinegar. Harmless, but deeply unpleasant. Linda screamed, soaked and furious. "This is harassment!" she shrieked into the bushes. After 25 minutes, she emerged, soaked, humiliated, and purple-streaked. She pointed at my door and shouted, "You'll regret this." I just waved. "Have a refreshing day." That Monday, I received an official HOA notice. Community disruption and nuisance complaint. Subject, Mr. Frank Delaney. I printed it, laminated it, and taped it to the maze entrance with a smiley face sticker. Next HOA meeting? Oh, it was glorious. Linda stood like a prosecutor yelling about psychological hazards, and safety risks to seniors and small dogs. She flashed pictures of her dyed tracksuit. Dennis, one of the board members, mid-50s, permanent look of allergy fatigue, raised a hand. "Just to clarify, you were trespassing on his land?" Linda stammered. "Well, people always cut through there." Miriam, a retired judge and newly elected board member, chimed in. "Doing something illegal for a long time doesn't make it legal." Linda tried to threaten legal action. I calmly dropped a folder on the table. Property surveys, zoning laws, a notarized county letter, and a highlight reel of trespassing clips. Even Dennis cracked a smile. Linda's meltdown became the neighborhood meme. Someone looped her maze meltdown with circus music. A TikTok creator reenacted her escape. And somehow, the maze went viral. By the next week, I had emails from neighbors, journalists, even a company that wanted to sponsor an escape room version. I declined. This wasn't for profit. This was for peace. And yet, ironically, the maze became the heart of the neighborhood. Kids came for fun. Parents brought picnic lunches. I added trivia signs, solar lights, even a little tune that played when someone made it through. The victory chime. One day, a mom named Sarah came by with her son, Max, who had autism. He loved puzzles. She asked if he could try it. I said, of course. He wandered through with wide eyes, tapping the hedges, smiling at the sound cues. Sarah stood beside me and whispered, "You know, you could have just put up a wall, but you made something better." That moment hit harder than any HOA threat ever could. And yes, Linda eventually moved. Word is, she tried to start a new HOA across town. Lasted 3 posts before she got banned from the neighborhood group. Someone later sent me a postcard with a hedge on the front that said, "Still can't find my way out. No return address, but I've got a guess." Today, the maze still stands, evolving, living, teaching. And at its center, on that stone bench beneath the oak tree, there's a message engraved in quiet defiance. Respect is the only real shortcut. Now let me ask you this. What would you have done? Have you ever had to deal with a power-hungry HOA or a neighbor who pushed the line too far? Drop your story in the comments. I read everyone. And trust me, the best revenge is always rooted in creativity.